Hey, you know what it is. Yes, you know where you is. Yes, you know it is that time. Once again, you are in the place to be. So many amazing things to see. Yes, oh yes, oh yes. It is that time of the week once again, guys. Welcome into the I Am the Possible podcast experience. The place where possibilities become perspective. Guys, welcome once again into the I Am the Possible universe. Thank you so much for rocking with me once again. Thank you so much. Excuse me, let me clear my throat. Thank you guys so much. I'm just so excited. Guys, thank you so much for every email, for every download, for every share, for every comment, for every thumbs up, for every emoji, for every interaction and engagement that you give me, man. I appreciate you. I want to pause always for the cause, and that is what you guys are. You're the cause. You're the reason I do what I do, and I am so grateful, and I'm so honored to serve you and to show up for you each and every week. Guys, we are in season 7, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to bring you guys such amazing individuals, and today is no different. I first want to say and get it out the way, and I will not delay. I'm just kind of throwing some rhymes in there. Don't worry about me. I'm just feeling good this morning. But listen, if you are not watching on the tube, if you are listening to this by audio only, then you are missing some of the experience. I want to encourage you to check me out on the tube, YouTube. Go to I Am the Possible. I Am the Possible, and subscribe. Become a part of the YouTube community so that you can not only hear these amazing guests, but you can see their faces. It's something about connecting a name with a face and a face with a name. It just comes alive a little more. So I just wanted to encourage you guys in that. And I'm going to get into this bio. It's a longer bio, longer than usual. But that is to say that this person has done so much and is doing so much in the world. She was a joy to have a conversation with. Her name is Monique Smith. I just had a wonderful time speaking with Monique and learning her life and learning the things that she does. It was just such a joy. Excuse me, I had to put my glasses back on. But it was just such a joy to hear the perspectives that she has and that she teaches. That was what really stood out for me. You know how, on this platform, it's all about perspective. It's about the way you see things, about the way you see yourself, the way that you see life, the way that you see God. It's all about your perspective. And she comes with such unique perspectives, powerful perspectives that really serve her community and really serve the people that she works with. So I just want you guys to kick back, relax, and just be open to what's possible in and through the upgrading of your perspectives. Man, she dropped some gems, and I can't wait for you guys to dig into this. So let me drop this bio, and as always, we're going to jump right into the conversation with Monique A.J. Smith. So Monique A.J. Smith, a leadership strategist. She is a leadership strategist that guides athletic departments, sports organizations, and individuals who wish to advance in athletics, administration, sports management careers through her company, and I love this, Seeds of Empowerment, LLC. Smith is a sports management veteran, guys, 30 plus years, an adjunct instructor at both Johnson C. Smith University and Hampton University, teaching sports management courses. Monique published her 6th issue of Significance in Athletics and Sports magazine that features Black women sharing their specialized knowledge in the industry. All of these issues can be found on her website, seedsofempowermentstore.com, or you can pick it up on Amazon. She is most known for her 10 seasons as the host of the internationally recognized weekly podcast, A Chat in the Garden with Monique A.J. Smith, that highlights and spotlights women of color in athletics and sports to her over 3,000 followers. Smith's time in collegiate athletics includes over 13-year tenure as an athletic conference executive for the historic Central Intercollegiate Athletic Association. She also serves in various athletic administrative roles on the campuses of St. Paul's College and the University of Maryland Eastern Shore within a 10-year period. Smith was a member of the Adjunct Faculty of Old Dominion University in Virginia. See, I'm getting a little tongue-tied. That means she does a lot. She's done a lot. She's doing a lot. She's about a lot. And so your brother getting a little tongue-tied with some of these colleges and universities and facilities. But that's amazing. It's amazing that you can foster such a resume because you are active in the world, contributing to the lives of others. So let me go ahead and wrap it up. Last portion of this bio. With the understanding that knowledge is the key to success, Smith customizes her presentations to provide clients with leadership tools to prepare them to make informed decisions. Monique has dedicated her life to marketing the success of others, developing opportunities for the underrepresented, and influencing decision makers to embrace diversity and inclusion. These actions have led to extraordinary opportunities to facilitators and to facilitate change and to see strives in the development of others. Guys, let me bring to the stage. Let me put in the spotlight. Let me introduce you to the amazing leadership strategist, Monique A.J. Smith. Thank you so much, Monique, for jumping on with us here in the I Am the Possible universe and the I Am the Possible podcast experience. I'm so excited to have you on today. I've been doing a little research on you, but I won't spoil it for our listeners. I really want to hear from you, and we really want to hear from you. As you know, this is the place where possibilities become perspective, and I know that you are up to some great things in the world, and you have a very unique perspective that you are living through and living from. And so we're really here to really glean from you, to pull from you, to hear from you, to learn from you, to soak up all of your wisdom and all of your experience and your expertise. And so please organically share stories, examples, however you want to flow and just be you. But more than anything, I just want to thank you for your time and thank you for your commitment to continuing to do excellent work in the world. I appreciate you. I appreciate the gift that you are to this world. And we just want to start to explore in detail, really what that gift is. So I want to do something a little unique. I normally don't do this with guests, but I want to do something a little unique. I want you to start, if you can share, and then I'm going to shut up and get out the way here. Why don't you begin with what you're up to in the world? Let's just dive right into what you're doing, who you're doing it for, why you're doing it. Let's get into that. Then I want to go to the backstory, a little bit about how you grew up and how you came up and how it all came to be. I just felt led this morning to start with where you are and then unpack how you got there, because I think listeners, and, to be selfish, I too, I'm inspired by what already is, but then the story of how you got there, because many listeners and many watchers are interested in the journey and how they too can see what's possible for themselves. So what are you up to, who you are, what are you up to, and what change are you creating today?
I am a leadership strategist for athletic departments, sport organizations, and individuals who wish to advance in athletic administration. And I do that in a couple of ways. I do executive coaching, I do group coaching, and I travel to universities and do staff retreats and student athlete workshops.
Oh,
I am
cool.
blessed to be an adjunct professor at Hampton University and John C. Smith University as a sports management uh, courses. And
Oh,
so it could be at John C. Smith, I taught sports psychology. At
mm,
Hampton University, I taught sports law.
okay.
So the interesting thing is that uh, we are here on iAMthepossible
Mm,
podcast, and the landscape of athletics and sports is definitely one that even old heads like myself must embrace. I am possible because it is so fluid right now.
mm,
So fluid that what I taught in January, by March, it was no longer a
mm.
it was no longer a violation by the NCAA. So we have got to keep an open mind if we want to be able to navigate the administrators for the next generation and
Mm.
to serve our current student athletes. So I've had to embrace
Wow.
um, I am possible. And basically, what I say is that it's all about mindset. I teach mindset first before I teach skill set. And it very simply, is that a wall or is that a door of opportunity? Can you see that?
Wow.
And so interesting how you say wow, because most people were like, I didn't see it that way. So
Yeah.
my company is called Seeds of Empowerment. I plant
Yes.
seeds of empowerment to lead others to greatness.
Yes. I love that title. I love that website. I love that whole imagery. The whole imagery, because I'm all about imagination and utilizing this thing. I think we far underutilize the imagination. The imagination is powerful,
Mm-hmm.
because most of the time we're utilizing the imagination for the negative outcome, the negative results. Oh, if I do that, if I try that, if I go that way, oh, look at what could happen. But that same imagination, that same energy can be used for what's possible, the good, the great. So I love that planting of seeds.
So you do that
Hmm.
before you have an opportunity in front of you. Because the pros and cons, your subconscious mind has more control of you than your conscious mind. So you'll
Yes.
be leaning toward what you really, what the shiny object syndrome is going with. So when I work with folks, I actually ask the question, what's leading what's leading your decisions?
Come
And
on.
that really becomes their core. And I said it becomes your guiding principle. So when you're looking
Mm,
at something, you look at it through these guiding principles
mm.
in this. And so something as simple as um, I had a young lady to contact me. I did a workshop for New York women in sports entertainment.
Okay.
And so it was in a similar situation where online, and then I offered a strategy session for anybody who bought something from my store.
Right.
And so someone did take an opportunity with that. Person been in business for been in actually she was on the pro side
Mm.
for like 17 years.
Okay.
And so when I asked her what are her things that guide her, the second thing that she said was family. And there was five things. And the last thing she said was impact. And
Mm.
so many of us, we don't know we're being led because again, social media makes us compare, and
Yes.
comparison is a thief of joy. And you
Mm.
don't know that you're doing that.
Wow.
And so she says that she felt that um, people were getting advancement or getting close to decision makers because number one, they were extrovert, and number two, they were available at all times. And so she kept talking, and I said, they're available. And she said, and they're not married or have kids. And so I'm like, okay, I bet you anything, if you ever had a conversation, they would love to switch places with you because she's married with two kids.
Mm.
And so you're doing the surface thing. When you go with your compass, I call it a compass activity, you see that you're making impact. You didn't say about, I want to say making friends, but to be the life of the party.
Yeah.
That wasn't anything. You family, and I say, people say, "Can you have it all?" I was like, well, a balance. No, it's ebb and flow.
Mm.
So it's ebb and flow, and wherever your moon is, that decides the ebb and flow of the ocean. So the same thing, your priorities, wherever your moon is at that time. So your 2-year-old will eventually become a 22-year-old. So it won't be the same. And if you look at it like that, let me enjoy this moment, be present until until the moon moves to the next season. And so that helps you not feel like you're missing out. Because I'm telling you, and I think I shared with you, I wrote a chapter in a book
Mm-hmm.
called Public Figure Mass, Exit Stage Left.
Yeah.
And I say, for high achievers, don't go straight up the mountain, spiral up the mountain. So you can enjoy the 4 seasons of life. Because when you get to the mountain, and there's really only one seat up there, you don't want to look down like, where's everybody? And this is all it is. You want to be able to say you enjoyed life. People came along with you. Because to be honest with you, in athletics, it's very consuming. And then when I realized that I was no longer invited to my relatives' weddings, graduations, because I was invited to a graduation of a first cousin's child, and I didn't remember my cousin getting married nor having children. And here I am invited to a graduation. And I'm like, okay. And that was my decision at a certain time in my life. I want to be in a position to control my time. And that's why I'm in the consultancy.
Well, you mentioned the moon moving, and that's such again, you I can already tell that you have a great hold on analogies and a great hold on visualization and just being able to paint pictures that are vivid and that leverages the imagination. What are some of the things that when you explain that, do you ever get pushback from anybody? Do you ever get someone saying, well, I want to get to the top of the mountain ASAP? Like, I hear you saying go around, which makes sense to me, right, for where I am today. But do any of the student athletes or the younger generation that you're working with, when you say, hey, let's spiral, let's go around, do you ever hear pushback, or do you ever hear reasoning that pushes back on that concept? And if so, what are some of those reasons? Because I'm thinking that there's listeners, there are watchers who are those high achievers, who are those go-getters, and who don't know how to slow down. They don't know how to pause. They don't know how to be in the now. They don't know the presence, or I'm sorry, the present of the present. They don't know any of those things. All they know is, I got to get to this place, this magical place of achievement, because of what they believe that's going to kind of be there waiting for them. And as you say at the top, you don't want to look back down and, no one's journeyed with you. What has been some of the pushback or some of the logical reason where people say, nah, I want it now. I want my cake now.
Well, the conversation is different for each generation.
Okay.
All right, because a young person today is looking exactly about now. Okay.
Okay.
And they want money now, which is where we are in athletic administration now, because the NIL.
Yep.
Okay. The portal.
Yep.
All of those things. And so for me working with the administrator, working with these now student athletes, I have to say, you got to think in the possibility. Number one. Number two, because of the pandemic, because of Uber, because of Netflix,
Yep.
people are hiring rookie smarts.
Wow. Yep.
And that is a book called Wiki Smarts.
Uh-huh.
And I try to tell people again, just because you've been somewhere for 17 years and you're seasoned does not give you an automatic to the next, because that's not what is needed for the next. Wow. Innovation is needed for the next. And so those young people who can go and click 2 or 3 buttons and get you where we need to be are going to surpass you, unless, because I did a speech on a college campus and I just said, if you don't know what AI is, you better go get YouTube and watch that. And if you don't know what YouTube is, you might as well just forget it. All right?
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. You know, the conversation is different.
Yeah.
I tell the young people that not to hold back. Okay? Because diversity of mind is what is aiding the marketplace.
Oh.
They have fear. All right? They have fear, and they have their head down, and I have to build their confidence.
Wow.
All right? They want to go get this money, but they don't know how. I mean, many of them are waiting for a brand to fall on them. I said, you're already a brand.
Come on.
So the conversation is different. Wow. With the middle, who have just graduated, might be in their 30s or whatnot, I teach them to be strategic. And that's really a lot of my work. Because honestly, how you deal with the no and disappointment has a lot to do with how you advance. And so I have to try, again, I go with the mindset first, switch that, and then talk about who are, again, this mountain thing is serious, because you really do know everybody you need to know. And because you don't know who knows who. And here's the point. You don't have to be the person who brings the solution. You can make a nice bed for it, plant those seeds, and watch it grow. Right. You know? And then, because it's more important to get the results you want than get the credit.
Come on. Thank you.
That's where, and again, people gravitate to people get things done. They don't gravitate to titles. If they do gravitate to you for that, you need to close that door.
Wow.
You know, so then for those, again, I've been in athletic administration for 30 years. I graduated in 1990. I was already in it as a student. Okay. You know, those are who are here. That's when I kind of go like, okay, yeah, the mountain has already been climbed. And it's happening. So many of the women that around my time span are now going to consultancy. But I have to help them with the better to get over the bitter. And I have, again, that's where the possibilities come in. Yes. You know that you do blank, blank, and blank. And I try to say those, when they have their 9 to 5, let us look at the possibilities of consultancy, which is why I started the magazine. Because I kept saying, I was trying to do the Speakers Bureau. They weren't catching it. Okay, fine. Let me get a magazine. You put your expertise in there. All right? And then it works. When somebody has a need, you be the first in mind because you let your expertise out there. And you can do that in year 1, year 10, year 30. And it really came about. Both my parents were school teachers.
Oh, okay.
And my mother became the president of the Retired Teachers Association. And I had just began to do consultancy. Okay. So they had their monthly meeting. And they wanted me to do a workshop. And it just came to me. Retire. I saw a tire. A tire keeps moving. Ooh. So when you retire, you just keep moving.
Oh, my goodness.
And so I have to see the possibilities.
Oh, my goodness.
As a retiree. Because let me tell you, I don't know how old you are.
47.
But the day of sitting getting a pension are going to be over. You're going to have to figure out how to have more than one income. Because Social Security is not going to last you out. It's the 401ks, but there are no more pensions. My mama said that. I felt she doesn't like this. I call her Miss Chancellor. I said, I might like Miss Chancellor, but that's a blessing. She's 86.
Okay, yeah.
And so she's able to enjoy that. But let me tell you the reason why I knew. And it was interesting because people that this was, I want to say maybe 20 years ago. So she was in her 60s.
Okay.
And I saw where most women did not have an idea about how to handle their finances.
Yeah.
And these were all retired school teachers. And all of them, just like my mother, you think you think that your responsibility is to take care of your grown kids.
Right.
And so but I didn't say that was what the workshop was about. It's about you being able to generate other income. And it's and also changing the mindset of your grandchildren. You tell them, here is a bank account. Well, now, look, I just read a book about fintech. You're not going to, you put stuff in the savings, it's not going to accumulate. However, you got to find out what that is, like acorns.
Yes.
You know,
Uh-huh.
and it matches, and you putting things away. When you save automatically, that's how you save.
Right.
Because even say you put in a budget to put, it might not go. Because you say, oh, I got to pay this bill. And so showing them the possibilities of them increasing income attacks the issue that I saw without them knowing that I was solving their problem that they didn't know they really had.
Wow. You know, that I hear so much life management coming out of you, and that's something that I continue to see come up for me, especially with young men. Some are brave enough to say it. Some don't know how to articulate it. But what they're saying is, I'm in this world. I'm 18, 19 years old, 20, 21. Maybe I have a child. Maybe I don't. Maybe I have a girlfriend. Maybe I don't. But life is rushing at me, and I've got what I perceive to be the weight of the world on me. And I, like you talked about earlier, comparing, I see so much out there, see so many other of my peers doing so many things, but I'm terrified because I don't know really how to manage myself. I don't know economics. I don't know how to manage my household. I don't even know how to start a household. What would you say, now I heard you talk about the guiding principles. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's not. But I'm wondering, in your experience over your last 20 or so years, what has been like that common thread of, no matter, maybe there is no common thread, but maybe there is, but almost for the majority of the people that you work with, what is the foundation, or what is that missing piece that most administrators or student athletes, or, what are people missing in terms of starting to lay a foundation that you've noticed the most? Like over your, years, man, everyone seems to not know this, or everyone seems to always overlook this element when they're trying to build a foundation in which to build their lives on.
Well, the one thing I would say that I always go back to is control your intake.
Okay.
Because that's controlling your desire. So-and-so got this. I want this. Well, you don't even know that that's what you want because you allowed, again, the shiny objects in front of you. It really is being able to eliminate the distractions and really being able to, I know you're a pastor, be able to hear the message you got it's too much noise going on.
Too much.
And it's the same as the concept of fasting. When you don't have, you're able to actually have the right desire because all the other much is gone.
Wow.
And so you're actually really hearing. And, it again, because the mindset, if you do that and a person has a mindset of lack, they're not going to see the beauty of the elimination.
Yep.
They were like, oh, something is being removed from me. Something is taken from me. Right. Versus I'm clearing out to get my message. So personally, I only listen to gospel music. But my gospel music got some hip to it. Okay? Like I'm getting ready for the day. I'm straight,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Uh-huh.
And so I don't watch reality TV.
Mm-hmm.
I don't watch who the baby mama, baby daddy. I don't care. That's y'all business.
Right. That's y'all business.
So I control that. And
Mm-hmm.
as simple as, I'm gonna give you another church analogy.
Uh-huh.
We need to pray for so and so should be a period. Not that we need to pray for so and so because so and so, so and so, and so and so, and so and so.
Yep.
That's gossip.
Come on.
And when you do that, you don't really, now I've been around a lot of mental health people of late. Because again, let me just put a pause. In athletic administration, Division I must have a mental health professional on staff now. The NCAA has made it mandatory. Okay. So many people in private practice are now coming into a space they always wanted to be in, and now they can. So again, the possibilities are endless.
Wow. Okay.
But so I learned this term, and I'm not going to say it right, but I get it. That there is something transferable trauma. When you allow people to bring things to you. Now, again, they're professionals and they know how to put it in areas, but they also have therapists themselves. I don't know not one therapist that don't have another therapist.
Thank you. Yes.
All right. But it again, like with me, it's going to be Monday, Wednesday, or Thursday when I do executive coaching. All other days are my days to get myself together. So you have barrier. And that's where it's healthy barriers about look, people know don't call me after 10 o'clock. I'm not talking.
That's right. Yes.
Certain things that I'm still in trouble with my husband. I keep my phone ringer off.
Yeah. Yeah.
For two reasons. In class, if the phone rings with somebody else, they get a negative point. In mine, I got to give everybody an extra point. So I try to, keep that going. But it also keeps me even keel. Even keel. And when you feel like you're going this way or that way, something has to be eliminated and something has to be elevated. And so you just got to be able to know that. And so for the person who feels as if they're thrown out here, what are you seeing or hearing or smelling? What are the senses being exposed to make you feel that way? And examine that and just try something else.
Yes.
And see what happens, in your feelings. Yes. And again, I'm not a therapist. I just didn't live a little bit.
Right. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, listen, take us back because you're dropping gems over here, and I always take notes as I'm having these conversations so I can catch certain things and just kind of pull a little more out of them, things that you say. So my paper is already full.
Okay.
But let me you spoke a little bit about your parents. I am interested in a little bit of your background. I don't know if you mentioned it, but where were you born and raised?
I'm gonna say this will really make you laugh.
All right.
I'm from the Peanut District.
Yeah, I ain't never heard that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm from Chicago, so I ain't heard that one.
Okay, so I'm from Virginia. All right.
Okay.
I'm from Virginia. I'm from Sussex County, Waverly, Virginia.
Okay.
And when I was in high school, our athletic conference was called the Peanut District.
Huh.
And when we won, you hear what I said? When we won.
When you won.
We got a real peanut with the little dimples and everything. The peanut was gold. It was on a trophy. The trophy was a peanut. And so, I grew up on 40 acres where we rented the land out. Okay. And, you don't plant the same thing every year. But several years growing up, there was peanuts on both sides of my house. Yeah.
Okay.
And when relatives would come, and bring their bag after the people who rented the land got their crops. You know, there might be some little peanuts. So to me, and here's the funny thing.
Yeah.
I was in the third grade when Jimmy Carter became president. I want to say, I'm saying this for a reason. That planted a seed about being a leader. Yep. Okay. But the only reason why I really wanted Jimmy Carter to become president, and it was not because he had a daughter that was around my age. Right. It was because he planted peanuts too.
Wow. Yep.
And so, as a third grader, we had a mock election. And I tried to get everybody to vote. Yeah. I got people I grew up with who still reminds me I did this. And I did it. And I wrote Jimmy Carter and told him that I had a mock election. Okay. And he won in my mock election. And he sent me a picture signed.
What?
In the third grade.
They sent it back. Yeah. So it does actually reach the White House or get to the people that can make decisions. Well, look at that. Yeah. It was just like a normal letter? Just a normal...
I was a third grader. I don't know. I think I wrote it and my mother sent it. You know, yeah. And so, but to me, that started my whole thing about leadership. You can influence people if you can show a connection. Okay. So in high school, I became SGA president. And I really began to create programming as a junior and a senior to address issues that we had. We had real poor spirit because in the country, you know, you couldn't walk to people's houses. You had to drive. So we had 4 little towns making a whole county. Okay. And so sports is what brought everybody together. Yeah. And I really we had a lot of apathy. And so I remember my senior year, I created, they do that all the time now, a club vendor thing. And so when the middle school kids came over just for a day, they got a chance to pick what groups they wanted to be in. So again, I'm like, what, 17, 16? Okay, yeah. And this is how I think. So but I didn't know what major. So my English teacher, Shirley Bird, said, you need to major in PR because you like to plan events and like to promote things. I'm like, cool. So I start keeping scores in the 8th grade. Okay. So that scorekeeping came before becoming SGA president. Okay. So again, I see how all that works together. I go to Hampton University. Wow. I majored in PR. Right. Really, I majored in mass media. I only had one class with PR, but I was like, okay, I'll learn everything: newspaper, radio, books, anchoring, radio. How to edit, and then how to promote. And my sophomore year in college, there was a notice on the bulletin board that the CIAA, Central Intercollegiate Athletic Association, was looking for PR interns. So I applied. One woman, 3 guys. Okay. But I wasn't intimidated because I've been doing it since 8th grade. Right. And that's when I got an understanding of how, honestly, I tell people all the time, I can promote a person from a losing team. They can still make All-American, All-Conference. Come on. I talked about it in class this week. I said, it's about the experience. It's about you feel like you're connected to the person. That can be done. Yeah. That can be done. And so, but when you go into something, you find that there's opportunities that are needed for your skill set. And so when my first job was at St. Paul's College, I was a sports information director. That's the sports PR person. Unfortunately, my boss, Jeanette A. Lee, was the very first female athletic director in the CIAA. She became ill after 1 year working with her. So, and she was also a women's basketball coach. So she had like 6 recruits coming, and she was ill. And I was I was a constant person at work. So I had to learn how to do financial aid. I had to learn how to do housing. I had to learn how to deal with these personal issues of these young girls, and it was a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm still close to those young ladies, even though back then they thought I was much older. There's only 6 years in between, because
Right.
I had to act a certain way. I'm
Yeah.
56 now,
Yeah.
so I don't even really look 56. But
Right.
can you
Right.
imagine being 22?
Wow.
Exactly. So I had to
See.
be like this, you know.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And but that's when I learned that there's more to this. I need to learn how to do compliance. I need to fill the holes.
Yep.
And when that happened, we went through 5 different athletic directors, and I was asked to be interim athletic director at 28 years old.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah. So
Yes.
thus you have the person who's a 30-year veteran in athletic administration.
Yeah, that's the possible right there. Yeah. That's the growing of the seed right there. Yeah. And you know, I found it so interesting because that's something that I preach and teach just religiously, is that what always, or what is and what is to be has always been. What is and what is to be has always been. Because I always, and because my whole concept of the whole iAMthepossible comes from the concept of a butterfly's life, and I won't go down that path, but basically, you know, even though that the butterfly goes through the 4 cycles of life, it's always been a butterfly since the moment of conception. So all that it ever will be is all that it's ever been, right? And so I find that in life, because as I was listening to your story, it was so confirming, and that's why it was so inspiring. And I hope and pray that the listeners and that the watchers picked up on it. The minute you started talking about peanuts, and that you grew up, like your upbringing, right? You were sandwiched in between plants and seeds of empowerment, right? Seeds was from birth, you were exposed to your environment. It introduced you to that which was to come. So it was like from conception, from birth, from you know, during those formative years, what you were ultimately going to be and become and do in the world was already like present, you know. And it's so amazing how, you know, you would entitle your LLC Seeds of Empowerment, for empowerment is certainly what you're doing, but the analogy and the visual and the imagery of the seed in the work that you're doing, the contribution that you're making, coming from what kind of like brought you up and what you were exposed to. I just love hearing those stories because it's so confirming. Like, man, God already lined you up and set you up, and it's such a part of you. So yeah. I love listening to that story because it's like it was already there, and it just continued to unfold and just continued to blossom and bloom. And speaking of bloom, I did want to ask you, because I wanted to make sure that there was a couple of things that I pointed out. You have a podcast, yes, and I took note, Chat in the Garden. Mm-hmm. Now, my goodness, you got to break that down. Where did that come from? Why is it called that? But let me tell you, before you do that, how much I love and how much I am in love with, I guess it would be like your subtitle, or your yes, where significance blooms. Because on this podcast, right, it's where possibilities become perspective. And I love that you started with where. It's an environment. It's a place. It's a space. A
community. Mm-hmm.
A community. So break that down for us. Can you talk about just love on your podcast a little bit? Do some self-promotion. You know, tell us about how you got to that name, what it represents, and what type of people that you bring onto that show.
Okay. So, do you remember what's the man named Brown? That James Brown.
James Brown, yeah. Oh,
all right.
Well, if you alive, if you in America, at least you should know that name.
Exactly. Okay. All right. So James Brown, what did James Brown say? I'm black and I'm proud.
Oh yes. Okay. Oh, yes.
All right.
Okay.
And again, I want to say I was born in 1967. So these things are just, just around you, not really paying attention. But plus my school teachers my parents were school teachers, so they couldn't outright be promoting the civil rights piece. They did it with, because they would have lost their jobs.
Yeah.
So they did it with, carrying themselves a certain way. No matter, like back then, my father was one of the very first and few Black men teaching, you see? And so when a young man didn't have that at home, you would see it in my father, and he was strict as I don't know what. People were talking. I just saw a guy this week. He said, "Man, your father, boy." I said, "Yeah, I know." And I had to go home with him. So what you think? So,
Right.
so it's something, and he said, "I'm Black and I'm proud," to help people feel significant when they didn't feel significant. All right. So that's in plan because, again, I'm a nerd. I go to museums. I read books like crazy, as you can see.
Oh, yes.
And so something in me that stayed with me. So again, I'm all about analogies. My dad was an English teacher. He was called the reciter. So that is how I think, like how do I paint this picture for you to see what I'm trying to teach you? So you got that over there in the back. Yeah. So I'm an athletic administrator. I'm a Black woman. I'm a pioneer in this space. All right. And people look up to me, and how do I do this? All right. Yeah. So that's number one. Number two, I'm in spaces where I've only been the only for so many times. And I'm determined not to be the only for long. Okay. I want to create a pipeline. So I have been in meetings, and an NCA will actually give money to conference offices under the word diversity. And I was in a meeting representing Leon Carey, the commissioner of the CIAA, where some commissioners didn't use all their money. Okay. They said they didn't know any people with diverse backgrounds to use it on. I was like, really? Excuse me? And I mean, I spoke out of turn, but hey, sometimes you got to do that. And I said, well, you didn't really try because you didn't ask me. And this is what I'm talking about when you don't know. I had just finished reading a book about Blacks in New England. It had Vermont. I mean, I just, just happened to read it. And I said, by the way, did you try the Black church? You didn't try hard enough. Like you just want to save that money for what you want to use it for. You didn't try hard enough. So I never forgot that, as you can see. That was like 2008. Okay. Wow. So I said, okay, for those who say they don't know where they are, I'm going to have this podcast. For those who don't know how to navigate this, I'm going to have this podcast. And I'm not going to call it Black. And I'm not going to call it anything about athletics. Because I want people to realize when you think about me, and I hope this comes to you too, you think about growth. Yep. All right. And growth is what? Yep. Personal and professional development. Correct. So when I was with the CIAA for 13 years, I did championships. I did governance. I was on a lot of things. But the thing I enjoyed the most was to grow the women in our conference for the seat. And right now, on my one hand, Virginia State, Winston-Salem State, North Carolina Central, okay? Yeah. Fort Valley State, right. All right? Florida A&M. These are people who are sitting right now, except for the one North Carolina Central. She just retired. Okay. In the ADC. All right. And I can do it on the other hand. But these women came through the programming that we created. I would hire a facilitator. I would say, these are the areas I want to address this time. And it worked. So what I'm doing nationally is what I did with the CIAA. All right. Now, so then I get my pink slip because they changed some leadership. And someone came up to me and said, it was a publicist. And she said, I have an opportunity for you to be on the radio. And I said, okay. And the first opportunity was ghetto. And I said, honey, I don't do ghetto. Come on. I was like, I don't know. And the what it was, her client wanted to have the longest radio show ever. And I was
Okay.
like, fine. And, I was on it for 3 hours and I could talk, as you can tell.
Yes.
And then I was like, girl, don't you ever do that again. So then she called me
Wow.
back and said, I promise you, I got a better opportunity for you.
Okay.
Guy's name was Clark Garrison. And he had a network, Survival Radio Network.
Okay.
And they were looking for guests. No, they're looking for hosts of their own show.
Okay.
I said, I'll do it. However, I want full control. I majored in this. I know exactly what I'm doing. And then when he saw that I knew what I was doing, he didn't want anybody else engineer my show but me.
That's right.
But I had a problem with it wasn't a radio show. Because again, I majored in this and this ain't radio.
Right.
When I embraced the word podcast, I was set free. I can say that. I have a podcast. But I don't have a radio show because you can't dial in and whatnot. And so, but I told him I was going to start with all Black women athletic administrators.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, well, you're going to have a short series. And I'm looking at him like, what you know?
Right.
You don't know this. Man, that's why he didn't let anybody do the show. He learned so much. So I started in August. And I think I went to January, all Black women athletic directors.
Right.
And then I moved on to other areas. And so now it's been 10 years that I've had the same podcast.
Wow.
And I interview Black women in athletic administration
Mm-hmm.
and now sports management careers.
Okay.
So people listen to it for those, because people always want to know my advice. I said, if you want to know my advice, there's a price for my advice. Okay? Here's my link. Or you can listen to this podcast and get all the free stuff that you want.
There you go. Yep.
And then, and the second thing is to help elevate the women that are in here who feel invisible, and to show that they are significant and they're blooming leaders in athletic administration.
Wow.
So every time you say where significance blooms,
come on,
you're talking about yourself, and then you elevate yourself each time. So that's my James Brown, I'm Black and I'm proud.
Look at that. Oh my goodness, I love those stories of just inspiration. You never, James Brown would have never in his wildest, elevated, most enlightened, most illuminated imagination think that by him making that song and saying what he said, that he would touch a woman's life in Virginia. Like we not putting that stuff. We don't put, no, that's just the beauty of life, that you can do something way over here. Cause I don't know where he lived, but I mean, way over on the other side of the country. And he made that song for whatever reasons he made it. Some of which, like you said, he wanted to empower us, but he had his reasons for doing what he did. But then the ripple effect, how others are inspired by you taking action and doing things. And I think, that's the beauty of what you're doing, because it is that ripple effect. It's by you helping those women, by you empowering them, they then do things, they take chances, they take risks, they move forward, they embrace the possibility in their own ways, but then someone's watching them.
Yes.
And then they're inspired, and then they do their thing and someone's watching them, and it goes on and on and on. So that's, oh my goodness. Yeah.
I want to drop something with you though. I wrote this down when you were talking about, say it again, what you said about you were already there. You was already there. Say it again for me.
What will be, or what will, because I say it a different way, but that one came in the moment. So
okay, I got you. That's
I don't remember it verbatim, because that was almost like a spinoff or a remix of something that I do always say.
Right.
But we are becoming that which we've already become. That which is and is to come has always been. Yeah.
And so, it reminds me of David. David was anointed, but he went through a whole lot of stuff before he became king. And that's why I try to tell folks that, again, you were
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be this, but you got to go through this to get there, because you're going to have a very similar situation. And it's something about wisdom comes from experiences. You follow me? I was very young in this business, and I used to tell people all the time, it's not how long I've been on this earth. It's the experiences I had on this earth that make me ready for whatever I have been given to oversee.
Yes. Amen to that. You are so true. That is so true. Oh my goodness. My goodness. I know we're starting to kind of come around that time. I'm keeping a watch on our time. So we're starting to come to the close here, and I wish we weren't, because I'm just eating this up like a good meal. I don't know if you ever had a meal where you full. You full.
Oh, yeah.
You know your stomach is like, okay, that was a good meal, but it tastes so good. It tastes so good that you don't want to stop eating. That's kind of what I'm wrestling with right now. But I wanna kick it back to you. There's a million questions that I could ask, but I also want to leave space for the in moment inspiration. My listeners, my audience, one of the things that I don't want to use the word desperately, but maybe it is desperately, but one of the things that I seriously desire is that they have a continuous revelation, not just one, but I mean revelation upon revelation of how loved they are, how special, significant, how great they are. There's not enough. There's a huge imbalance in this world of self-appreciation and acceptance at our core, right? Separating our achievements, but just being able to really come to grips with, in and of ourselves, how great we are. And so that's why I entitled this Possibilities Becoming Perspective, what you can actually see with your senses. Like, I sense that I'm significant, not because of what I've done, but because of what I am. I wanted to hear from you, and you can take it down any path you want. For you to do what you have done, for you to continue to do what you're doing, I can't believe that you're somewhere hiding away saying, I'm worthless. I'm good for nothing. God doesn't love me. The world doesn't love me. In other words, there is a value that you have for yourself. There's something that you see in yourself. And can you share, like, a two-part question? A, what do you see in yourself? And two, where do you think what you see in yourself was birthed?
Well, we all fall short. We are human. And I surround myself with resources that help me stay on the right path. And one of them that I actually use with my clients who have a lack of sense of self, who don't really believe their achievements. They feel like things are surpassing them, and they can't see possibilities. It's a book called In Search of Significance.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, there's a couple of references that I go back to myself, even if I don't go read back the whole piece. I constantly will say it. All right. And there was a music group called ABBA, and ABBA means father. And in that, our father actually planned us before we were even here. And so I say, that's why we say, order my steps. This is why we say, Your will, not my will. But we have to, but the thing is, as high achievers, as planners, sometimes we forget that we are not orchestrating. You see? So my husband loves to remind me, where's your faith? Where's your faith? So one is resources. One is surround yourself with people who believe in you. And that's my husband, and he will definitely be one to bring it back. And I pray for him. I ask the Lord to provide me with someone to guide me spiritually. And that's exactly what he did. When I met him, he walked around with a Bible in his hand at Hampton University.
All right.
Working the ministers conference. And I was getting ready for the track meet. I was in charge of the press box for the Division II National Championship. So being again, there's something to be said. You can see where you're going when you look at your circle, the 5 people in your circle.
Yeah.
If they ain't going anywhere, you ain't gonna go nowhere. Now, I'm not saying cut your people off, but you need to go you need to have more than one circle. And then you decide how much time you're gonna spend in that circle with the other people. I didn't say cut your family off.
That's right.
We talk about that meal right there. Are you gonna sit there and be fat and hungry in a place that can't feed you?
Wow.
Or go where you're around like-minded individuals and there's somebody a little bit higher than you that can elevate. Come tell you, I don't think I had a salmon until I went to a NCAA banquet.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because my mama didn't eat salmon. She didn't like it. She didn't eat house shrimp. Now, shoot, that's my go-to. You see what I'm saying? Until I was exposed. Exposure.
Yes.
Exposure equals elevation.
Gotta write that one down. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so that's what I say about going to the well. You got to continue to go to the well. For me, wells, and going back to the seeds, I believe seeds are reeds. If I'm in a depressed mode, my husband says, "Do you want to bring your book?" Because he can go pick one, And like when I'm in a sense of learning, a sense of growth, I feel better, And usually, I mean, sincerely, the week I got my pink slip, I'll take that back, not the pink slip. When my boss was fired, they put me interim commissioner.
Okay.
And I was in a sense of like days. I'm like, what in the world? So I go to the bookstore, my happy place. Look, my husband went to a concert to see P-Funk.
Okay.
All right? I said, I ain't gonna see that man. I'm gonna sit right here while you go there. You come get me when you finish. Okay?
Yeah, right.
And so I fall upon a book that says something about riding the wave of change. Now that's not the title of it, but that's when I read it. It was one of them little short ones, but with a little storyline.
Yep.
And then the next day, I knew what to tell my staff. That you were chosen, even though our leader is no longer here. And I'm not going to replace our leader. But I'm going to help guide you as I've always had. Because I was always a number 2. So, he was going to raise the money, and I'm up here directing how we're going to do this. So we're going to do this, but we're going to do it with a sense of we're going to prove why you were chosen by him to prove his leadership, to give him the credit. And we're going to ride this wave of change to see where it takes us.
Yes.
And I knew it took root with the staff because they kept saying that.
Wow. So
the leaders that are out there, when you're dealing with change, find something that people can take root to. So that's where the hope comes in. When we did the pandemic, people were losing hope.
Yeah.
And they had to find a place to root it to. And that's what happens when you have that sense of hopelessness. So that book, In Search of Significance, told me that I was already included.
Yeah.
Because Abba is my father. And then Emmanuel with us, he's with us. Yep. Why am I looking for the nod from other people when I'm already included with the best club there is.
That's right. Wow.
So you say it to yourself, and you go get these resources that remind you of that, and then you get resources to help you grow in that, and then you have a sense of self.
Yes.
See, that's when people have a sense of self. We're waiting for other people to tell us who we are, and you got to tell yourself that.
Yep.
So I hope I answered your question.
Yes. Yes, that and much more. Yeah, lessons that I'm jotting down. Oh my goodness. You are investing in ways you have no idea. Oh, I needed this one. Let me tell you. Yeah. I hope y'all getting y'all's, because I'm getting mine in this one here. So I hope y'all got y'all pen and pad together. So we are at our time. Oh my goodness. Oh, please. Yes. So that it's called Removing, and there's a link for this, right? I can include that in the show notes.
Yes. Public Figure Mass is not the name of the book. It's the name of my chapter. So when you type publicfiguremass.com, publicfiguremass.com, you'll be able to purchase it, and I will sign it and mail it back to you. And it covers my athletic administrative journey. And kind of going to what you said, I did hit a wall. Early in my career, literally and figuratively. And I cover it here. So I'm a public figure, but I hit a wall. But the things that I did helped propel my career after that. So I wanted to be able to share that. Publicfiguremass.com.
Publicfiguremask.com.
Okay.
Got it. Yes. Make sure we add that in the notes, in the show notes, for people to contact and get in touch, or to get that resource. But we'll also include all of your contact information to make sure that everyone can get into contact with you as well and follow you throughout social media and stay plugged in. And I'm certainly going to stay plugged in as well. Listen, I want to thank you so much for sharing all of your experiences, your expertise. My goodness, the vivid stories, and that just, man, you are gifted, blessed, and anointed.
Thank you.
To share in a way people can grasp it. Man, I mean, the people that work with you, they blessed. I don't know their names, but they some blessed folks that can work with you. I will continue to pray. I will continue to promote. And just continue to support you however I can, from this moment forward. And I'm just looking forward to seeing more from you and more from the organization. And I just thank God for you. So thank you so much for spending this time with me, with my audience. Thank you so much. And not my audience, the audience. And just thank you for sharing, because a lot of what you shared, and I know that you're getting paid for your, for the things that you do. But the gems that you dropped, these are ideas and concepts that can shift a person's thinking. Like you talked about the mindset, that will, I believe, will create, not only, spiritual independence and spiritual freedom, but also financial, economic, freedom and growth. And development. So thank you so much. Is there any closing statements that you want to share? Any closing idea or thought, encouragement, anything for the listeners before we wrap it up?
Well, you are significant.
Yeah,
you are significant, and so it's someone that's out there that needs you. And so, if you're trying to miniature yourself or don't want to be out there, you're hurting someone else. It's not about you.
No, that's right. It's not about you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. I can't wait to get this one out there to the world. This has been a great time. Thank you so much.
And I love to talk on LinkedIn. That's where I do my talking.
Okay.
And I love to, as you can tell, love to speak and love to plant seeds in everyone's community.
Yes. Amen. Well, guys, that is it. Wrapping it up for another episode and another experience here in the iAMthepossible universe. I want to thank you all for watching. If you're watching on the tube, If you are listening on one of the billion podcast platforms, thank you for listening. I do want to encourage you all to engage with this episode. If you're on YouTube, leave your comments, questions, your thumbs up, all of those good things. If you are listening on a podcast platform, if you could do me a favor and just write a quick review or leave a comment wherever they would allow you to, please get in contact with this amazing, powerful, anointed, significant woman, and make sure that you follow, make sure that you like, that you share, and be a bridge. Be a bridge. Everything that was shared today may be applicable to you, but it may not be applicable to you. But it may be applicable to someone that you know and someone that you love, and they may be in need of this information, and you can be a bridge by simply hitting that share button, by simply copying and pasting links, by simply reaching out to somebody and saying, hey, I heard this episode, and maybe this will help you out. Maybe this will shift some things for you. So go ahead and be that bridge as well. All right. I love you guys. I'm praying for you guys. I'm believing in you guys. Until next time, as always, guys, let's continue right here to regulate. Let's continue right here to innovate. Let's continue right here to elevate. Remember, guys, be encouraged. And yes, as always, continue to be your possible. God bless you.